We're sailors, so we know what doldrums are. For you, those of you that don't know, the doldrums, it's the intertropical convergence zone. So it's an area on Earth when you're sailing where the currents and the whole wind structures, they kind of collide, so to speak. And in that area there is dead. There's no wind. It's the doldrums. So you can hear like sayings of sailors being stuck in the doldrums for weeks, months, I think 6 weeks was the average that you're stuck there, right?
Right.
And what do you do all day? You just sit there and you wait for it's hot, it's sweaty, you're like stagnant and you're waiting for a wind.
Floating around randomly,
Yes.
So we use it to mean anything now. Anytime you don't have any wind, we call it the doldrums.
Doldrums, that's right.
Welcome to Plant-Based DFW with Dr. Riz and Maya. In our show, we cover topics about lifestyle medicine such as healthful eating, physical activity, stress management, building relationships, and improving your sleep. We also enjoy talking about topics such as the environment and animal welfare, and we will bring you experts such as physicians, dietitians, and health coaches. And we also like hearing testimonies from people like you. And welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based DFW with
Dr. Riz
and Maya.
Today we have a special guest. We are in Maui, and we have Dr. Irminne Van Dyken with us, and we're very excited to have her join us on our show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you again. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and also please share with our audience where we are. I mean, we've been excited to be out here today.
Cool. So I'll start with where we are. We are at my husband Russell and my homestead. We call it Casa de la Vie, so has a romantic ring to it. But about 1.5 years ago, we bought this area. It's 2 acres, and we have been homesteading here. We're building a home, and we are staying in an alternative home while we build, and we're just making something fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as who I am, I'm a surgeon, so I'm an MD and I operate, but I'm also a huge advocate of plant-based diet and plant-based nutrition, and I am lifestyle medicine certified as well.
Well, awesome, and hence why we're here with you and on the show. It's a interesting story how we met. We met kind of as sailors before we knew anything else about each other, right?
That's right.
Even though we were coming out, Maya and I were coming out to Maui on a regular basis, but then we found out more about each other, found out you were plant-based, and found out you were here. So we were very excited to have the opportunity to get to know you guys.
Totally.
That's right, and then found out that you're also board certified in lifestyle medicine. So there are a lot of things that we have in common. Alternative living or simplifying our lives a little bit is part of it. And then also you're into gardening. You just gave us a tour of your property, and we've seen your garden, and we've seen where you're temporarily living while you're building your home. So it's very impressive.
Yeah, so with this piece of property that we have, well, number one, it's all vegan. We don't allow anything that's non-vegan on it. It just really makes the land feel good.
Yeah.
But the other thing is we have a rule, and we do not plant anything that is not edible. So we've been trying to plant slowly things that we can eat.
Awesome.
And it's good.
And it's a garden bordering on a farm, really.
It is.
With all the stuff you guys have going on.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm jealous. We don't have that opportunity where we are, but
Well, you can move to Maui.
People keep saying that. That might watch out. We might be your neighbor someday.
Just remember this.
And
it's December right now. It's almost Christmas, and we're out here in tank tops, hanging out.
And I just got a little weather notice that it's 47 degrees in Dallas.
Oh,
so look what I have forward to getting back to.
A little chilly.
Yeah.
So Dr. Van Dyken, we spoke in one of your videos a little bit about you and Russell, but if you can kind of, for our listeners, tell us a little bit about where you're originally from and how you managed to move out here to Maui.
Sure. So I'm originally Dutch, actually. I'm a Dutch citizen still. So I was born over there. My parents, I'm one of 8 kids, so my parents lived in the Netherlands for quite a while, and then they decided to move to the U.S. So moved to the U.S. when I was 6. And after that, grew up in Montana for most of my childhood. Then for medical school, there's no medical school in Montana, so all the medical school people from Montana have to get exported to surrounding states. I got exported to North Dakota. I spent 11 years there.
Wow.
And did my medical training there, did my surgery residency there, stayed on staff there for a year, and then we made the move to Hawaii. The Hawaii thing, Russell and I had been incubating for a long time. Russell's grandparents lived on Maui when he was a kid, so he fell in love with the place from childhood. When I first met him, he was very much of the mind that we need to check Maui out. And I said, Maui's overrated. Who really wants to go there? And then we came over here once and I was hooked.
Wow.
So in love with this place. So we made it our goal to move here.
I understand the thing about incubating.
Yeah?
We've been coming out here regularly, and it's been incubating in our minds about getting out here more often somehow.
Yeah, that's how it was for us. Every vacation we had, every piece of time off we had, we would be out here. So,
Well, share a little bit about your plant-based journey with us.
okay. For me, I'm a little bit of a unique situation, I guess, because I've been vegetarian since I was 9. That was ethical vegetarian. I still loved dairy, still loved cheese, eggs, all that stuff. And
But wait, as a 9-year-old, you made that decision, or did
Yes.
somebody in your family make it for you?
oh no, I made it.
Wow. Okay.
Basically, it involved a piece of chicken, one of those drumstick pieces, and I was eating it, and I cut myself, my finger, as I was eating it. So there was blood on the chicken thing I was eating, and that's what it took for me to put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, wait, this chicken used to bleed. I was wondering whether it was mine or that. And from then on, I was like, okay, I'm not eating it anymore. So it was very interesting. A lot of pressure from my parents. Not too much. They were supportive, but still kind of like, wow, that's a little different. We'd have arguments, arguments at the dinner table because I would refuse to wash the pan that cooked the meat in it, weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
My grandfather, every time he'd come visit, you are not going to develop right. You're not eating meat. It was very like dogmatic, and he grew up in Holland.
Were there some cultural issues from where they were from that had an impact on their understanding or their mindset?
I think so, and I think the big thing is the Dutch. It's a very meat and potato society. That's the cuisine, right? So to get rid of all of that is a big deal. Also, my grandfather particularly, he is a World War II survivor. So he was 17 when Hitler invaded the Netherlands. So his country got invaded, and he kind of had a whole deal to do with starvation and not eating. So anything where you're refusing food was very ungrateful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So then, from the age of 9, you were a vegetarian, and you don't have to go through in terrible detail, but tell us about how you transitioned to where you are today.
It was simple. We were coming to Maui for vacation. I was in residency. I had a few pounds to lose. I wasn't obese, but I was a little chunky. So was Russell, and we decided we wanted to lose weight. Well, what's the best way to lose weight? We started looking it up. There was a book by Joel Fuhrman that we had read, and I was like, yep, that's the one that I really want to do. That's a lifestyle I want. So we started cutting out all the ancillary stuff, and the pounds fell off. And then I started researching the health stuff, and I'm like, wow, there's really something to this. And once you get awakened to that, it's just a cascade, and things just go.
I get it. And that's when you entered you made it a part of your professional life, and then the other things you're doing?
The professional life came once I was convinced with the research, and once I'd done all the reading, and then I had to share it.
Yeah.
So we know that you're board certified through Lifestyle Medicine, and that was last year, was it, that you were certified? 2018?
A year and a half, so 2018, yeah.
2018.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's been really exciting to understand that a lot of doctors are now coming on board with this.
So, and I understand also that you were the first board certified surgeon, lifestyle board certified surgeon in all of Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's quite an accomplishment, huh?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for now. I'm sure there'll be more to come.
Yeah.
What is lifestyle medicine?
Oh, well, lifestyle medicine is huge. It's the wave of the future. So essentially, you're combining 6 pillars, right, of lifestyle medicine. And the big ones, the huge ones, are going to be, as you know, nutrition, right? Feeding your body with good stuff. Exercise is huge. Sleep is good. What is it? Social support, mindfulness. You have all these different pillars, and they're all really important.
Avoiding risky behaviors. Yeah.
Alcohol and tobacco avoidance. So all these different pillars that kind of come together to help everybody achieve more health.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So for us, actually, very interesting. Before we'd heard of lifestyle medicine, we were hooked on the blue zones. And that appealed to us, and you start to look at the characteristics of the blue zones, and then suddenly you realize, well, that's what lifestyle medicine is about.
Absolutely.
Right?
It
so
is.
that's how we were so quickly and able to grasp on to the concept of lifestyle medicine once we heard about it.
That makes sense.
And so last time we spoke, you mentioned something like maybe lunch and learns that you're putting together. Okay, how's that going?
Yeah, so I had a lunch and learn, and we're doing a series, and it's for the Kaiser physicians. So I work for Kaiser. Actually, technically it's for Hawaii Permanente Medical Group, but same. And these are lunch and learns where providers can come. It's optional, of course, and we talk about something lifestyle medicine related. So the first one we did was great. We had Maria from Roots, so the restaurant where we were at. She made us amazing dishes that we were able to bring. So we had little samples for people to try, and it was just an overall presentation of why is lifestyle medicine important, what are the statistics, just if you implement certain things. And it was an hour-long thing, and then questions afterwards, and it was wonderful. We had a good time. So we're going to keep doing more, so the 6 total, and we're just going to be doing, each pillar is going to have a lecture.
Yeah. You know, you and I were talking earlier off air about how are we, to reach people who are not already on board, and this sounds like that this is an opportunity for you to reach out to other physicians and healthcare providers and get them interested. Definitely,
and it's so funny because I've had so many of those providers come up to me after just separately talking about their experience or questions they had, or more details on the research, which is really cool because I get to share that with them, and it's something that may not have been in the back of their minds in the beginning.
Have you had some come up to you and say, hey, Dr. Van Dyken, I have made the switch, or I have changed, or anything?
Oh yeah, or I'm trying to go mostly plant-based, but don't kill me, my daughter does this, and it'll be like just a couple little things, but we've had really good response.
That's certainly gratifying, isn't it?
It is.
I've had the same experience. I tell people I have a captive audience, and when we're in the operating room, right, it's us, who's assisting us, the tech, the circulating nurse, and the anesthesiologist, right? And so we kind of have the floor. If we're talking, they can't go anywhere. They have to listen to us.
That's so true. And they have to be polite about it.
Yeah. I don't know if they have to be. Sometimes they're like, let's talk about something else, or turn the radio up. But I have had, on several occasions, someone come to me later and say, I was listening to you in the operating room, and that was very interesting to me. Can you tell me more?
Yeah.
Or I even had one nurse who'd been, she's my circulating nurse. She's a vascular circulating nurse, and so for weeks, she'd been listening to me talk. It's not like it's the topic every time, but it would come up from time to time. And one day she said, hey, Dr. Riz, I've gone plant-based. I said, really? Wow, why? And she said, I've been listening to you in the operating room. So that is very gratifying.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So tell us more about what it's like for you working out here in Maui in terms of being able to work with colleagues that are open to plant-based nutrition or lifestyle medicine. Do you have a team now of people that you work with?
Well, so we have, I wouldn't say an official team here on Maui. I definitely have primary care doctors that are aligned with that, which is great. And we're all kind of in cahoots. So if we have a patient who needs a surgical opinion that could benefit from lifestyle medicine, they're hearing it from their PCP, they're hearing it from me, all sorts of stuff. And it's so awesome because in the past we'd always say, okay, well, lose weight and come back to me when you are a candidate for this repair or whatever it happens to be, right? Now I can say it would be really great if we can improve your lifestyle, you motivate them, and then I say, and we have a team and we have classes. We have a class called Viva Veggies, which is great, and people love it. And we have lifestyle coaches, and it's so easy. We just put a thing in the computer and a referral pops up, and we have a lifestyle coach.
Jealous. Yeah,
that is
awesome.
So wonderful to have that system.
It's like a dream, right? Something that we would like to have.
Something that I would love to institute with my patients is get them on board with lifestyle medicine and lifestyle changes before they have their operations.
Yes, and, like a prehab type of thing.
Exactly. The same way they do with bariatric surgery. Oftentimes get patients on a better lifestyle, on a better path before they have that bariatric surgery so that they can continue it afterwards, right? Rather than trying to teach them after the fact.
So how open are your patients though? I guess like you said, you can always refer them to other people, but do you find that transitioning patients into eating more plants is fairly easy because you do offer the classes and things like that?
I think it's hit or miss. You have a whole spectrum of patients. You have some that for some reason they are ready and willing to go on board. And then you have others who it's a huge win of, like we were talking about, one more vegetable a day, and that's a big deal. But I think it's pretty consistent. If I can get my patient to agree that maybe there's some improvements we could make with their lifestyle, then they'll agree to the lifestyle coach. And then it just is, it goes from there. So
And you also said that you recently screened the movie The Game Changers.
Yeah.
And how was that?
Oh, it was so awesome. My good friend Nico put it on, and it was in Kihei, so a little town that's down on the South Shore. Kihei Charter School. It was a high school, and we put on this screening, and afterwards we had a Q&A, and it was wonderful. It had all those people who were curious about being plant-based, but not plant-based. So
Were there a lot of students there?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. It was actually. So my friend who put it on, he's a teacher, and it was his class, it was their project to do this. Wow. So it was very educational. Yeah. We had a huge buffet, donated food from restaurants all over the island. It was wonderful.
What age kids were there?
That's a good question. I think they were 7th graders.
Okay.
So middle school.
Yeah, I think that The Game Changers, the movie itself, is going to appeal to kids because of the athletic aspect of it. Yeah.
You're not going to appeal to a kid if you talk about heart disease, right? And that's not what they care about, but they do care about athletics, and they care about running faster and all that.
Were the kids asking questions? Did they?
They were.
Yeah.
They definitely
What
were.
kind of stuff were they asking?
One question that stood out was a kid in middle school asking, well, do you think that being on a diet like this is okay for me while I'm still developing? You know, because those are like the thoughts that go through their head.
That's pretty insightful for a 7th grader.
Very insightful.
It really is.
And then, of course, we had a parent, oh, well, I read the plant paradox, and what about the lectins? And, you know, so then you go into that a little bit.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you're wondering, yes, a seventh grader, 13, 14-year-old can be on a plant-based diet and develop normally.
Yes. Yeah. Any stage of life, you can be on a plant-based diet. Yep.
So we want to mention also that you're on the board of the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii, and you often give lectures too. And I don't know if you're scheduled in or you fill a spot.
Yeah, so I typically give a presentation once a year, and it's always brand new on some topic that I want to discuss. This last time I did get to be a last-minute fill-in. It was lucky that I had 3 weeks, I think, to prepare. And for me, because I dive into the science, that was rough. But
you had a lot
it
to
still
prepare
turned
very
out.
quickly,
Yeah. So.
But we should also mention that you have a YouTube channel and you make quality videos, very informative videos, great productions. That you
wonderful
work,
videos.
Thank you.
You're with your husband Russell. You work together on this.
Yeah, we're a team. Definitely
How do you
not
find
a
the time to do it?
one-person thing. Off hours? I don't know.
Are there off hours? I mean, my goodness, you know.
We find time. It's something, it kind of gives me a sense of purpose. So I really like to do it. I feel like I'm educating and I can reach people that in other ways I wouldn't be able to.
Right. And that channel is called Out of the Doldrums.
Yeah.
So how did you pick the name?
Oh, well, we're sailors, so we know what doldrums are. For you, those of you that don't know, the doldrums, it's the intertropical convergence zone. So it's an area on Earth when you're sailing where the currents and the whole wind structures, they kind of collide, so to speak. And in that area there is dead. There's no wind. It's the doldrums. So you can hear like sayings of sailors being stuck in the doldrums for weeks, months, you know. I think 6 weeks was the average that you're stuck there, right?
Right.
And what do you do all day? You just sit there and you wait for it's hot, it's sweaty, you're like stagnant and you're waiting for a wind
floating
to pick
around
you.
randomly. Yeah.
Yes.
So we use it to mean anything now. Anytime you don't have any wind, we call it the doldrums.
Doldrums, that's right. Yeah, and now our channel, we picked that name because it's analogous to picking up your life and moving. So when you go out of the doldrums, you finally have wind in your back, you have a sense of direction, somewhere to go. So for us, for sailing, it makes sense.
So
we
it's
like it.
It's a double entendre. It has another meaning,
it is.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I never knew that.
Oh,
I'm glad
that's
you
why
asked
we
about
picked
that.
it.
Yeah. Interesting.
And also, another thing that we found interesting was your work that you do here in Maui, but then you also handle cases in Oahu, right?
Yeah, that's something unique to Kaiser. So because we have Kaiser members here and we do not have many subspecialists or facilities here, there's about 2 days a month where I go and operate on Oahu at the Kaiser Hospital. It's like a palace there. They have all the equipment we need and operate there with subspecialists, and then I come home and the patient recovers and comes home. So it's a good setup. Because many people don't know this, but Maui is rural. Technically, it's a rural area, so we do have limited resources.
The whole island has, what, 50,000 people?
60, no, I take that back. The whole island, I think, is around 110.
Okay.
You'd have to fact check me on that. But
That's still pretty small. Yeah, when you think
it
about
seems like people are clumped into these little towns and the remainder of the island is spread out. Yeah.
And so how much longer before your property is done? Or your home
That's
is,
such a
complete?
good question. We're thinking 8 months to a year. It's going to vary just depending on how quickly we can get it done. We're about ready to move inside, so that's exciting. And once we're inside, drywall and finishing touches, and we'll be good to go.
So is there anything you want to share we're trying to keep this quick because we're going to have a very nice plant-based meal in just a few minutes.
What recommendations would you make to anyone that's, contemplating maybe switching from standard American diet to maybe eating more plants? What do you recommend?
Good question. So I would not recommend going 100% from zero to hero. I think that's very rare when somebody does that and they're successful. I tend to recommend just more of a gradual approach, trying to do small changes, but keep changing until you get to an area where you've completely transitioned. I think that's a really big deal. The failures that I have seen are the people that say from this moment forward I'm not doing it, and they go completely overboard and then they end up craving KFC or whatever it is, and then they're done. So yeah.
I agree completely.
I was just going to say there's also so many resources online now. There's so much out there, and there's 21-day challenges and recipes, and there's so much. Yeah.
And can we say a little bit more about what the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii does for the community? Because we mentioned monthly lectures, but there's more, right?
Yeah, the main mission is going to be outreach, but also education. So we want to educate on health, but also we want to educate on other things like animal welfare, the environment, etc., all packaged into one. We also provide really good discounts. So anybody that's here, if you buy a membership, which is I think $30 a year, you get 5% off of grocery stores like Down to Earth, which is an amazing grocery store here. A lot of restaurants, you get discounts, 5, sometimes 10% off. So you make your money back for that membership in no time, and it supports the Vegetarian Society.
Yep. We got our card and we've been using it.
Oh,
cool. That's great.
Down to Earth really has saved us, because since we're mobile, we're traveling. It's like sometimes we don't always have a kitchen to cook or a place to prep meals. And are you seeing a momentum like a lot of people are starting to see, like in the past 2 to 3 years, more people are coming on board?
Definitely. And with all the transition foods that are out there, I think they've done a service in the fact that more people are willing to try that, and then they go even to more, and yeah, for sure. It's exciting to see.
Dr. Van Dyken, thank you so much for taking your time. I know you're pretty busy, and yet you still invited us over for a wonderful meal that you guys are prepping, and we got to see a tour of your property and the home that you're building. And thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you soon again.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
That's
you very much.
awesome.
So much.
All right.
You've been listening to the Plant-Based DFW podcast show. If you like our content, please like, share, and leave a review. Our goal is to provide quality episodes to help support the community.